Don't want to burn the bees, but just allow them to believe that there's a forest fire. So the smoke calms bees, and it makes them focus on storing food, eating any food that is not packed, and so it makes them more gentle to handle. So this box is what we call a hive, and the bees inside the box are the colony. Those are two important distinctions as far as definition. The colony at any particular time of year could be anything between 10,000 bees and 50,000 bees. It reaches its height of population in about late spring. But just like most anything in nature, it's cyclical. So as the food starts to dry up, the queen lays less eggs, and therefore less bees are put into the world to feed. The bees that you see coming in and out right now are foraging bees. So these are bees at the very end of their life, because that's a fairly dangerous thing for a bee to do, is to go out there where it could get picked off by a bird or a dragonfly or impaired by bad weather. So they make sure that the bees work very hard inside the hive before they become foragers. So as they leave the hive, they'll go out and look for flowering plants. And when they find a quantity of a flowering plant, they'll come back to the hive and tell their sisters. And they do that by the way of a waggle dance. Hello, girl. All right. Oh yeah, they're very gentle. Especially now, if we do find we've got a main hive, if we've got bees that are starting to fly up and get bumpy, if that persists, we will requeen that hive. So we take the old queen out and replace it with a more gentle queen. And one of the things we have to worry about in Florida, that's a brand new bee right there. See that little blonde girl? Oh. She's just been born. One of the things we have to worry about in Florida is Africanized bees. The state inspector keeps a really good eye. If we get an aggressive hive, it's our responsibility to requeen it to make sure we keep gentle European stock. So we've just taken the lid off this hive. It's very, very full of food. And ordinarily, if there was a good flow of nectar, which there isn't at the moment, it's drying up, I would add another box. popping in to see what you've got. So these individual bars are called frames. And this is the only legal way to keep bees in Florida. And it's removable frames. Wow. So I've got tons of brood here. So if you look closely, all this cappings are baby bees. That's what we call brood. So they're going to, capped brood. Right. So that's where the queen has laid an egg. They fed that egg. They visit about 2,000 times each cell. And then they cap it over. It goes through metamorphosis and comes out as a little baby bee. And that's what we call brood. Now around it is honey that has not been capped. Mm-hmm. So this is food that they're storing. It's very, very important to be very careful with brood. Much smaller. So again, this is
all of that is brood.
No, this is honey.
Oh, that's honey.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's very hard for beekeepers when they first start to see the difference between brood and food.
So food is probably more curved over?
It's kind of translucent.
Yeah.
So the opaque capping are the baby bees. Mm-hmm. And you can see how gentle they are. I mean, considering we ripped the roof off their house and then we're handling their young, they're very calm. That's smoke. If we hadn't have smoked them, it might be a different story. But even then, they're very gentle. So once the brood emerge, then they reuse that chamber to store food. And so what we're seeing now is their populations are starting to decline. If you look down here, you'll see it's solid bees and honey. So their populations, as the brood hatches and emerges, they'll replace that. Instead of the queen relaying eggs in that chamber, they put food in it. Because their brood chamber is right up here, I'm just going to leave these girls alone. Yeah.
So is it common in a hive for the brood to be up at the top?
Do you know, this time of year, no. That was kind of an unusual sighting, but bees don't read the books. Some beekeepers put what we call excluders on, which stops the queen laying upstairs, which means when you want to harvest honey, you take this, you can take them without worrying about killing the queen. I don't like excluders. I like her to be able to roam wherever she wants to go. I find it makes happier and healthy bees. But if you ask 10 beekeepers the same question, you'll get 11 answers. Everybody has a different way. There she is. Okay, I've marked her blue. Can you see her down on the lower part? So there she is. She's looking for cells to lay her eggs in.